Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Belle. I hope you all are well and taking care of yourself. So this is Healing Archive 7. I'm excited about this one just because it's Healing Archive 7 and 7 is a great number. It's been like 3 weeks since my last Healing Archive, so I just felt like it was time for another one. I'm in nature, obviously. You guys know that nature is my favorite place to film and to be. Whenever I'm in Mother Nature, ever since I was a kid, I've just always felt like welcomed, nurtured, and I think especially since my mom passed, I feel closer to her in nature. So, but I'm in this place, so I knew I was gonna go up this road to like find a place to film, but it's currently 99 degrees outside. 99 degrees outside. I'm not playing, I'm not joking. 99 degrees outside. And like, I was in the sun, but I was like, I'm gonna pass out if I sit here for like 15 minutes to talk to you guys. So I'm in this shady spot, but I think there's a camera watching me up on this pole, and it says, no access to the public. Listen, I do not condone this behavior. If it says no access, then don't go, you know, follow the law and everything. But to be honest, this spot found me. I didn't find the spot. So let's get started. So I read this part in my book last night before bed, and basically it just says, it talks about healing, right? And it kind of defined healing in this way that I really liked, and I wanted to share with you in hopes that maybe it'll hit the same for you that it did for me. So it says, the healing are those who allow love to replace fear in meeting the unknown and allow awareness to enter resistance. So I think that's just a really simple way of putting healing, is any area in your life that you feel fear. The path and the journey of healing is just to meet those places of fear with love and resistance with awareness. So I'm going to talk about grief groups and support groups. So I know I mentioned it in a couple healing archives, but to backtrack a little bit, back when my mom passed away, January 11th, I knew I wanted to get into a grief group or a support group. When my dad passed away at the end of 2017, I thought about like grief groups and support groups, and I thought it would be helpful, but I think my dad's death was really complicated, and I don't think there's many deaths that have happened that was like his. So I felt like it would be a little bit difficult to have a support group because I don't think I'd be able to find anyone that I could really relate to in that sense. So with my dad's death, it was very like one-on-one therapy was a lot more helpful for me. I think just understanding my dad's death myself and working through the grief myself was a lot more helpful. Like just the psychotherapy was really helpful for me. Look at this little light coming in here. We love that. And for my mom's death, since it was suicide, I knew like I so badly wanted to be a part of a group like ASAP, like survivors of suicide, because I knew that being a part of a community would be really helpful for me and healing for me. So when I first moved back to LA, February, I was calling like any grief group that I could find, like, do you guys have any open grief groups, like anything, you know, and this was before COVID, and unfortunately they were like super busy. And the one that I found that I really liked, we set up an appointment for April 20th. So, you know, that was like 2.5, 3 months out. So that was something that I was looking forward to for a super long time. My therapist in Arizona that I've known since I was 17, she told me that it's super important to have things that you're looking forward to when you're grieving, you know. A week out, what you're excited for. A month out, you know, a few months out, what are you excited for? What are you looking forward to? So that was really hard for me when COVID hit, because it's like, I don't have anything to look forward to. I know I mentioned that in my last healing archives. Oh my god, my water just spilt. So that was hard on me, because I remember calling my grandma and being like, I just want to be a part of a grief group, like I want to be a part of a support group, like it shouldn't be that hard, like why is it even harder, like I just want some type of community to be a part of. So it was really hard on me, and like I tried getting a hold of the organization that I had the appointment with on April 20th, and they weren't responding for a little bit, so I thought that it would just be canceled. So that was hard. I felt alone. You know, I felt like, okay, maybe it's not meant to be, maybe I'm not supposed to be in a grief group. Fast forward a week or so, and this one grief group, I'm not going to name the grief groups, but if you are interested in, you know, looking into one of these grief groups, I will gladly let you know what organizations I'm reaching out to and a part of. So I got an email from one of the organizations, and basically they were reaching out about this open grief group that they were having, this open support group through Zoom. So I signed up right away because I was like, yes, finally we've manifested a support group. Yeah, so that grief group went really well. I think it was just, maybe it's a weekly thing, but it's not like the ordinary grief group, because it's not like the same people that you're meeting with for like 9 months, which most grief groups are like that. You're meeting with the same people. This grief group was just like an open call to, like, you know, help grievers, people who are grievers during COVID. Yeah, it was through Zoom. I think it was like an hour and a half long. There were actually 20 people in that group. It was definitely a little bit bigger than a normal grief group, but I was the only one who lost someone to suicide in that group. But regardless, like, just being with people who had this grief on them, weighing them down, was comforting. It's so weird how that works, like, to be around other people who are hurting in similar ways to you. It's hard to explain, but it was comforting. A few days later, I got another email from another organization that I just, you know, a few months ago signed up for emails, signed up for their newsletter, whatever. And this was like an organization that is like survivors of suicide. So they sent out an email about this Zoom support group, and so I signed up for that one too. And this one, since it was suicide specific, it was a lot smaller, and there were 2 hosts, I think that's the right word, and then there were 3 of us, 3 participants, and that one was even more beneficial than the first one. I don't know why, I felt like Zoom support groups just like would not be my thing, and I don't know why I was so like negative about it, because it's something that I never experienced, so how am I supposed to judge something that I've never done before? But I think in my head I was just like, nothing will beat or be better than an in-person support group. Like, that's really what I wanted, and that's what I had my heart set on. In-person support group would be like this helpful. Zoom support groups were like this helpful. Yeah, like just being able to see everyone's faces and have this space where we can all grieve and talk about our grief openly and cry openly amongst strangers really was a lot more beneficial than I thought. So in the survivors of suicide one, it was a way smaller group, so it was a little intimidating. Like, it was hard for me to like get talking at first, but I knew that it was such like a safe space that it was okay to cry and to just talk about whatever came up in my mind. Yeah, I'm just really grateful, and I'm really happy that I manifested a grief group, even though it's not an in-person grief group. It's second best. And the appointment that I had made on April 20th, they got back to me and they asked if I was interested in doing the meeting on Zoom. So basically this meeting was, and I did it, this meeting was kind of like an interview to like get me placed into a grief group that fits me and suits me best. So it was a little difficult for me, to be honest, because I had to explain to this lady, who was very sweet, but I had to explain to her everything that happened, and I feel like when I talked about everything that happened, which I have no problem doing, it's very healing and healthy for me to do, but it really made it feel like super fresh. And her job wasn't really to empathize with me and like make me feel comforted. It was more just to like write down, okay, this is what she needs, this would be best for her, this age group would be best for her. So it was a little difficult. I felt kind of weird the rest of the day. A hummingbird, a hummingbird, a hummingbird. I see hummingbirds every single day. But I explained to this lady how much I wanted to be a part of the community and how urgent it was for me to be a part of a group, and you know, she said, you will get into one of these groups. It's just there's like 3 groups that are like filling up, and one was people who have lost a parent, and the age group was like 18 to 30, and then the second one was people who have lost a parent or sibling, 18 to 30, and then the third one was people who have lost a parent, open age group. So I went in that order. I was like, number 1 would be people who have lost a parent, 18 to 30 years old, and then second, and then third. And the grief group is 9 months long, and they meet every other week for 9 months. And she told me that they're still trying to decide like if they're gonna do in person. They're kind of just like feeling it out and like seeing where this COVID thing is gonna go, you know, if they should wait to start these grief groups in person, or to start them online and then be able to continue them in person once everything calms down. That's pretty much my update on finding a grief group. I will definitely continue to update you guys. Thank you guys for listening and for being here. I'm also super grateful for you guys and for the community that I have here, and just having this space where I can talk about my grief and what I'm going through. I'm like so grateful I could cry. But yeah, I hope you guys are hanging in there, taking care of yourself, doing things that you love every single day. I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining in on this Healing Archives, and I will see you guys in the next video.